right? That was your question?
Anything.
Okay. The first answer was that which is seen. The second was visible object, and you were saying you can say something else also. So we now look for your response.
Yeah. It's a reality.
A reality.
Yeah. And we can say more. It's that which cannot be touched. It cannot experience anything. We can call it rupa, arupa. Can there be more?
Actually, we don't even understand what is reality.
What we say is real.
It's real.
Reality.
So we don't even understand what we are talking about is reality. We don't even have that understanding firm enough to know that this is real because it is real.
It is seen.
It is seen, or it is heard, or it is that which sees or that which hears. These are all realities. But we don't know why we even call that reality, because only Panya knows what is real.
But even if we don't call it anything, it's real.
It's real. And it's known as to be real by understanding at different levels. What we understand is at the intellectual level, but we don't know it as at the level of direct experience yet, that this is real because this is its nature. We only, when we hear is seeing real, we agree that it is real because it is real, and we understand it at the intellectual level. So just now when you asked, is there anything more, I was thinking that understanding of reality as reality is still so weak. We could listen to the Dhamma just to be reminded that the reality is reality, different from concept. And, that is, we need to hear that more and more, a lot more. So actually no need to talk about other things, just talk about what appears and understand that it's real.
Better and better. Because when one is talking about seeing and that which is seen, it seems like it's true, it's real, because seeing is a reality which sees, and that which is seen is different reality, but they are real, right? But even right now, it's forgotten very soon. So it does mean that we really understand it in so much that there will be understanding all the time about seeing right now and that which is in right now. So it needs to be reminded in order to know that not knowing it is like when there is the understanding of it as nothing. It begins to develop that actually when seeing does not arise yet, there is no seeing. But as soon as it has arisen, it falls away instantly, no more. See, so everything is like this. In order to be reminded, actually, there is no self who is permanent, who just born and die, and see and hear, and like this life throughout the life, and then disappear. Only that.
I'm saying on one hand that we need to hear, not try to understand everything and just one thing at a time, and not to be too greedy in trying to understand everything. But there's also the fact that we need to hear about everything to understand just one thing.
Just like when you said that, so we should try to separate, see, but actually there is no one and no need to separate because they are different already, just to understand the way it is. So there is no one who is trying so much to understand the way one hears about it, but just to understand better and better that there is no one. And the characteristics of realities are different. One cannot experience, the other can experience it all. What we take in life, whatever, through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. But we have to learn more in order to see that actually each one is conditioned. Not by anyone, but by the proper conditions for its arising to be so, such as it is. So what else can we talk about now? See?
We can talk about any reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the sutta Kunsundra pointed out last week or the week before about the monk who said to the woman, who to the effect said that it's not, she shouldn't teach her the Dhamma or something like that, and then scolded the Buddha apparently for talking about Dhamma to her. That monk does not see the value of Dhamma at all, because every word is precious. Everything about the truth is precious. So it's to be shared and not to lose opportunity to hear, because it's about what's real.
So now, is there anything you'd like to know or to talk about? There are so many things. But what is interesting to talk about? We have heard many things. There is not just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. What is more than this? Other thing. Is there any other thing besides this?
Perhaps
yes,
not.
there must be.
There must be.
There must be.
Those,
You mean nothing is going on?
something is going on. I don't know what, though. That's something I'd like to hear.
Is that still life while one is asleep?
Yes.
So it's a kind of that which you can experience.
Yes.
But at that moment, it does not see, it does not hear, but it's still there, arising and falling away.
Yes.
It has to experience, but without eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and thinking, it's different objects. But
So
when
what-
it's the reality which is experiencing, whenever it arises, it has to experience. Even the object is not known, but it's there because it's not dead yet. That's why there are conditions for that moment of citta arising and falling away. Different citta, different from seeing, hearing, but it's there, arising and falling away. It still keep on living, life goes on, because it keeps on arising and falling away until at moment of seeing is there, hearing is there, different moment.
So the citta is just constant. It's in different realities, but
Different.
it's still constant. It is a different citta. It's a different experiencing.
Different kinds of experiencing all the time. Like seeing is not hearing. And there are moments when there are no seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking at all. But there must be that which experience, citta, keeps on life going on from moment to moment.
So if you have a night's sleep without any dream, there's nothing to remember, because at that time it's the object is not known, right? There is remembrance with each citta, but you wouldn't remember it when you wake up, because the object of that citta during deep sleep is not known by anyone except and perhaps only the Buddha. I wouldn't know, but that's how it is.
Yeah, Tanajan, so that's the questions in my mind. I still haven't really not clear yet. The day before yesterday, you were speaking at the Nikanti golf course, and when citta is in deep sleep, what is it a rupa room for? What is the aramana for that citta?
When she said it's not known, it's not known.
But you know,
Okay, it's not known.
the same object as the previous.
Six or five moments of before Juticit arise.
Yeah, whatever,
Yeah,
and it's
so
the same
whatever,
as
so-
Patisanti and Chuti of this life. So we don't know those objects.
We don't know, right? Okay, got it. Somebody also a question yesterday. I couldn't tell them what it is. Thank you.
We talk about many things, but we don't stress on it, like memory, remembrance. Is it real?
I think memory and memories are real, I think. Although
Whatever
they
is
can
real
be.
is real.
Yes.
You cannot say that it's not real. Because why do you know who's whose? It's a reality which can experience an object by way of remembering, marking. So it's different from the citta, which is the chief experiencing. But there must be other citta, other realities arising with it, which is not citta. So we call that which can experience, but it's not achieved at moment of experience, cetasika. like attachment, anger. These are not citta. Citta is the chief of just experience. So it knows or experiences the object, just the characteristic of that only as that. Like what is seen, it's seen. No idea whether it's people or what. But it just experience, the chief of experience. But it cannot arise alone by itself, because whatever appears or arises needs more than one conditions for its arising. Like seeing needs the eye bears and the reality which can be seen, and at moment of experiencing, the citta, that which is the chief of experience, arises with other realities which can experience, but it's not citta. It's cetasika. Like attachment, it's not citta, but without citta, there cannot be attachment to that which appears as object of citta. So altogether, it conditions different types of citta. Some cittas are conditioned by 7 citasikas, and some cittas are conditioned by more than 7, but not only one cetasika. So we learn now that what we understand as that which can experience must have other realities beside that which is the chief of experiencing, the faculty of experience. Like memory or remembering, marking the object. Otherwise, the object cannot be known as anything at all. We know that this is this and this is that because of that reality, which is cetasika. In Pali, we call it sanya cetasika. Sanya cetasika. Altogether, there are 52 cetasikas, but we learn to understand one by one. Like feeling, it's not citta, which is the faculty, the chief of experience, only that. But at moment when it arises, there is feeling, another reality, which experiences the same object, but feel indifferent, or pleasant, or unpleasant. No one at all. So we learn to understand one moment, what are the citta, cetasikas, as the experience and the object which is experienced.
Is it correct to say that a reality cannot have more than one characteristic? And what about function? Can it have more than one function?
It depends. Yeah.
So, in the case of seeing, for example, it just sees, nothing else. And attaches, just attaches. Feeling, just feels.
Mm-hmm.
So it does sound like one function, but when it comes to cetana, it seems to be more than one function? Or
Because each one has its own characteristic, its own function, its own manifestation, and its own proximate cause. Each reality.
And the proximate cause can only be one for each?
More than that.
More than
but
that,
we talk
right.
about the closest one,
The closest,
the nearest one.
the most important one.
Like without contact, there cannot be feeling.
Okay.
But there are other cetasikas too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but as much as we can
Okay.
say about is feeling. Without contact, there cannot be feeling.
No, because I was thinking to understand why citta needs to the help of other cetasikas is to because each citta cannot contact, citta cannot feel, citta cannot this. So we need to. It's good to know that for each experience, it needs the help of many realities performing different functions.
Just to understand, realities are not self at all. For example, who can know what condition hardness? It's there already. See, hardness is there. At moment when there is touching, hardness is there. But it is there means that it has arisen and hasn't fallen away yet. By touching, ajetasika contact it. So it conditions moment of feeling hard or feeling hot, depending on what appears. But no one can condition hardness at all. No one can condition citta, no one can condition cetasika. That's why we talk more and more about each reality has its own characteristic, its own function, and its own manifestation and proximate cause. Just to understand, actually, no matter in what way, there cannot be self, because there must be conditions which depend on each other. So yes.
Did you say that memory is a cetasika?
Cetasika, yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Whatever
like
is not citta is cetasika, when it can experience.
Meaning it needs, so just citta by itself doesn't exist. There's always cetasikas together with citta.
And cetasika cannot arise without citta. The way Dhamma is, conditions.
So that actually shows how impossible there can be a self.
Actually,
Because can a self perform so many functions?
yeah. That's why we have to learn to understand one word at a time. To really understand that even hardness, no one can stop its arising. As no one can stop hardness to arise, no one can stop that reality which experiences to arise. No question about why and how, because there are conditions for each reality to arise. So we learn about realities first, and then we learn about the conditions. Citta conditions cetasikas, and cetasikas condition citta, and citta condition rupa, and rupa condition citta, and cetasika.
This hardness is no different from the hardness there.
Mm-hmm. The characteristic of hardness must be just hard, but the conditions for hardness is different.
But still conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
And each one must be conditioned by the three other Mahabhuta Rupas
Mm-hmm.
and other conditions.
Mm-hmm. So no one can eradicate the idea of self, which is wrong belief. Only understanding at moment when it arises gradually eliminate the ignorance which condition like or dislike and other citta and cetasikas from moment to moment. So the best reality in life is right understanding. It is a cetasika.
because without understanding we won't know about reality, any kind of reality.
And we just talk about the moon, really, and what is it? What is the moon? Because the teachings of the Buddha, the word of the Buddha, comes from his enlightenment, so there can be answer for anything that can be known. We see the moon, but what reality is the moon? Is it real? Or the sun, or the stars, trees, earth? What is the reality of them?
So
each one.
What we take for the moon is visible object.
Visible object. And can there be just visible object, which is moon?
No. A visible object is conditioned by the four Mahabhuta Rupas. So that's why earlier I was taking the example of the mango. We can know that what's seen is just visible object, but visible object cannot arise alone. When you touch, it's soft or hard. When you taste, there's taste. When you smell, there's smell. So this can give the understanding that rupas also arise by conditions, need other rupas to arise. No rupa arises alone. Just like chitta cannot arise alone, rupas also cannot arise alone. So everything is conditioned.
Now we know about chitta, cetasikas, and rupas. But you just talk about Mahaphuta Rupa, another word. There are many kinds of rupa, but he just talk about Mahaphuta Rupa, not just rupa. So what are the Mahaphuta Rupa?
Jack, you understand rupas to be physical phenomena, right?
Yes.
For example, visible objects, sound are physical realities. They cannot experience anything.
Things that cannot experience anything.
But they are real.
But they are real.
Right. Hardness is real. It's a rupa. Hardness.
Yes.
Heat is real. It's a rupa. So just now I talked about Mahabhuta Rupa, which in English is translated as the primary rupas, primary elements. They are the base for all rupas that we otherwise experience, like visible object. So that which is seen does not arise. The visible object does not arise alone. You can imagine in terms of something that's needs the support of other realities to arise. For example, if what's seen, the mango cannot be reached and touched, it was just an illusion, then it would be illusion. But you can actually go and touch, and that proves that beside the visible object, there must be other physical realities. Hardness is a primary element. Is the earth element. You must have heard earth, fire, wind, water. These are the four primary elements. Earth manifests as hardness, softness, heat, hot or cold, wind as motion or pressure, and water cannot be experienced through the body sense. Water is just like cohesion. It binds the other elements. So that's these four elements. I think you can appreciate that they must be in all physical matter, right? So this is Mahabhuta Rupa. This is the four primary elements, which must arise with at least four other rupas. Means that everything that can be touched, can be smelt, must have some form of smell, can be tasted, must have a form of taste, can be seen, so visible object, and plus must have a nutritive essence. Means they can be conditioned for other elements, like food we eat can condition other physical matter. The food is converted to energy or whatever, right? So these are the 8 physical phenomena that must arise in the minimum in each physical, they call kalapas. Kalapas is the most fundamental yeah, the most fundamental
particle?
You can.
Is it like a particle, like
yeah,
an
but
atom?
it's not really particle. Not really, but the most fundamental elements that is part of everything, you know. So you cannot know through science, because science
will label it an atom.
Yeah, they will have concepts, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
they cannot experience. They would say that, oh, the atom can be, has a certain feeling, sense, you know, but that's actually being mistaken. The what's seen is actually arises with what's touched. So it does not matter even if it's not an atom, even here right now, right? The hardness is actually arisen with earth element, fire element, and which can be understood without the use of microscope or anything, can be understood with wisdom. So that's the element of experience, physical phenomena. Ajahn, maybe I'm losing the track.
Yeah, when we talk about just one reality at a time, it's clearer. Now we know that nothing can arise by itself, but there must be conditions for its arising. And there are only 3 different kinds of realities. The one which cannot experience at all is rupa. And there are 2 kinds of nama, the reality which can experience. One is citta, the faculty of experiencing. It just experiences, it doesn't feel like or dislike. And there are conditions for its arising for sure, but they are cetasikas. So citta arises with citta, many cittas with one citta, like feeling and memory or marking, remembering, but for example. And that is the reality which experiences an object. But now, talking about that which cannot experience, there are the 4 primary rupas, means that they cannot arise alone. It depends on the others. And whenever there is hardness, there must be that which is hot or heat together, co-condition. And not only 2, there must be that which contains something. Fire is there, or heat is there. And there is also that which is pressure, which can move. So this cannot be changed. It cannot change its shape and form. It's there by conditions. And one reality which cannot be touched, but can be understood, there must be another rupa, which bind the other 3 together. But it cannot be touched, because whenever there is touching, hardness is touched, or heat is touched, or pressure is touched. So there are the 4 primary rupas. At moment of seeing something which is seen, where is it? there must be the four primary rupas, but the four cannot be seen at all. But it conditions another rupa which can be seen now. Like this can be seen, but when we touch there is hardness. It's hard or hot, see? So what is seen, but it's there with the four primary rupas. That's why we call it primary rupas, because it conditions other rupas. Altogether there are 28 kinds of rupa, but the four primaries, the one are only 4. So there must be the 4 primaries for any rupa which can be touched or smelled or heard. So now one knows that there is seeing which is seen. Wherever that which is seen is, there must be the 4 primary rupas. Without it, see, you cannot see when I move it away. But when it's there, you see. But there must be the 4 primary rupas there too. And that which is seen, visible object, is one, and smell is another rupa. You can smell whatever is hard. So there are another 2. What are they?
Taste, right? Even though we may not be able to identify that it's this taste or that taste, but it must have a taste, and it's a nutritive essence. Even though we cannot eat, but it does have. I mean, we know of insects eating things that we wouldn't eat, right? So they since they are rupa and they can be digested. So they have nutritive essence.
So that means we could taste the moon also.
Yes.
Yes. Like now you can taste the floor.
Right.
Right?
Because we can see the moon, so that means the other 4
Right.
must be present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All together,
you know,
8
if
rupa together.
somehow we traveled there or somebody brought back a moon rock, we could.
Yes.
Right. So the question where a lot of people ask, does the tree that falls in the forest, no one there to hear it, makes a sound? What do you think?
Say yes.
Yes,
Because
right.
those elements, the 4
They're there, and sound is
basic
caused by
elements.
earth element striking earth element,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there has to be,
Yes.
no doubt.
So there must be 8 rupas together, and the 4 primary rupas are only 4, and the other 4 is that which is seen, and that which is smelled, and that which is tasted, and that which can be touched. And what else?
And they exist regardless of the conditions. What am I trying to say? So for example, if we have an unfortunate person who is blind, missing taste buds, they don't have a tongue, they're deaf, they cannot hear, but we present them with said mango, you know, obviously the mango still has those things, but this unfortunate person cannot experience them on those levels because they lack the conditions, but they still exist.
Yeah, and it would still digest in his stomach.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah. Hmm.
Now, even if someone does not have the sense of smell and
Yeah, let's say.
but let's assume that even that is gone. But it's just saying that regardless of whether you can experience or not, rupa is rupa, and it arises with at least 7 other rupas.
But there are 4 the rupas which depends on or arise with the Mahaputta rupa. What are they?
The other 4?
The 4 which arises with the Mahaputta rupa.
The
What
4
are
that
they?
arises. So Jack, you understand about the 4 primary elements, right? They're the most basic. earth, fire, water, wind. This is the primary element. And the other four that must arise also, although they are not the primary elements, they call it the derived rupas, but they must arise, but they don't function as the four primary. What have so far you've heard? What are the four?
The seeing.
Visible
No,
object.
not seeing.
Sorry. Visible objects, the smell, the tasting, and the touching.
No. Touching is one of the primary elements. Touching is the earth element.
Hardness.
It's actually not tasting, but it's flavor. Tasting is chitta, but flavor is
Flavor. Taste.
Flavor.
Now we talk about that which cannot experience at all. There are altogether 28 rupas, but we talk about one by one. Now we talk about 8 kinds of rupa. You know the 4 primary rupas, and the other 4 are the derived rupa. They arise with the 4 primary rupas, which are that which can be seen, no matter what you call it, and smell, and taste, and one more.
One more. What's the?
That can be heard.
No. I mean, can you hear?
Oh, it's just like a sustenance or something? Like
Nutrition. Yeah, nutritive essence. It has the potential.
question on the same thing. When there's touching, that's hardness, but it's not. It's a galapa, but there's many galapas of rupas changing very, very quickly. So when I say hardness, that could be many different moments of hardness.
It doesn't matter.
It does, okay.
Yeah, but what can be touched
Is hardness.
is hardness. Yeah. And altogether there are 4 derived rupas. Now it is that which is seen, that which can be smelled, and that which is tasted, the taste, and one more. Nutrition. Yeah. Otherwise we don't eat. We eat what? We eat what?
Food. We eat food. We eat.
We eat the 8 rupas.
Oh, but we digest just nutritive essence. Is that what you are asking? We
No,
eat,
what we eat is all the 8 rupas.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
8, yes.
all 8.
But only nutritive essence is digested.
Nutrition is that which conditioned another rupa,
Yeah.
aharacha rupa. Without it, there cannot be other rupa, which is conditioned by ocha.
Right. And what we say, the food is digested and it forms other rupas, is not actually just one condition.
Only that ocha conditioned.
But also it can be heat and other things. What's gone into the stomach can also needs conditioning by heat.
Heat is heat, but ocha is
But
ocha.
in each kalapa there's heat. So the heat also does the function of
It is utu charupa.
creating rupas.
It is utu.
Utu.
Utu cha is birth or born or conditioned.
So-
Utu charupa.
What I'm saying is that the
There
mango
are 4
we eat,
conditions for rupa to arise: kamma,
chitta,
citta, utu, and ahara.
ah.
So utu condition its own rupa, and
right.
ahara.
So the food we eat and we say digested is both utu and ahara.
Utu digest, but the ocha conditioned it.
Conditions are new.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. But then what about the... So utu just functions to
Burn.
break,
To burn.
to burn. And when we say the rupas outside, change, like leaves on a tree, bloom.
By Uttu.
But can we say that's the result of burning?
We can say that because Uttu is heat or cold.
But it's not creating new rupas?
That is new rupa which is changed. Otherwise it cannot be changed. What
So
we
Uttu
say
produces new
change
rupas
means
also?
new rupa.
With new rupa. So Uttu produces new rupas also?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the outside rupa are conditioned by only Uttu.
Hi, Mr. Jack. That's okay.
Ajahn has to turn. That's why I said you come here. Sorry.
Mr. Jack, I want to would like to talk with that we discuss also something like we said that about the rupas. So like visible the group of the roof. So it means that everything is depend on condition. Something like roof cannot stay one rupa. So at least it's just H rupa, and then we said, as you know already, at least that Mr. Sukin said already, and we need to have more like a test, nutrition, visible objects, and then another one is smelling, right? We cannot celebrate each other. Something like visible object this is one rupa and need to stay with another seven of rupa. In the rupa, all the rupa there are 28 rupa, but it has three groups. One is the Chitta Rupa, and two is the Kamma Rupa, and three is of Uttu Rupa.
Then you have to explain that.
And four is have Ahara Rupa. And now we say about the age of rupa, and we can use the name. We can say that it's named age. Avinipokaru. It means that the rupas cannot celebrate, cannot break, something like that. So we just understand that, not just focus on remember how many is are, but we can understand that it's everything is appear because condition. So like one group can stay with another group also, like 5 for the primary of the rupa also. Do you understand what I said?
Yeah.
Yes. Don't just remember what I said.
Don't worry, I won't remember. Just trying to understand.
Just now, Kunrit was saying that the hardness, for example, I think, or which other rupa, I don't know which he used, but he's saying it needs the support of the other 7 rupas.
No,
Can we really say that? No, only 3. The 4 primary rupas.
There must be
4
primary
The others
rupas.
are just derived. So it doesn't. The earth does not need visible object. But they arise with it. That's all. But it doesn't depend on it, right? The visible object depends on earth.
When we talk about Pajya, the 4 condition, the 4 rupas condition the other rupas, not the other rupas condition the Mahabhuta rupa.
Did I say something wrong? Okay.
So, what do you eat?
We all ate
Yeah, right,
the
right.
primary 4 rupas and
Yeah.
the 4 derived rupas.
Rupa, yeah, right. Indivisible.
But is it? I'm sorry.
They are indivisible.
They're indivisible.
Group.
They must
Yeah.
be together.
Arise, never separated.
Okay. But only one of them the derived rupas is the nutritional aspect. The rest becomes like waste products that our body rejects, basically.
It cannot condition, only the heat and cold can condition rupa, and the nutrition can condition rupa. So heat and cold condition rupa too. But when we talk about food, nutrition condition rupa.
So, Chan, is it correct to say like nail and hair is conditioned by heat, not nutrition?
Because you see that at birth there must be 3 groups or kalapa, indivisible rupas, we call kalapa, indivisible, 8 indivisible rupas. At birth there must be 3 kalapas. One is the feminine or masculine rupa. It is rupa which condition the appearance and the way the rupa is to be understood or to be known as male or female. Even the what you call doll. See, we know that this is male or female, but there is no power rupa at all. But the sex masculine or femininity, it's rupa conditioned by karma, but the doll doesn't have that. But the appearance, so it conditioned the appearance to be known as male or female. Even it's a doll, one takes it for male or female, but actually there is no power rupa at all. But the memory takes it for male or female.
A doll does not have
No,
power rupa?
no, not at all, because power rupa must be conditioned by karma only. So one person has only femininity or masculinity, rupa, not 2 together in one person.
So a dog is male and female?
Yeah, so there are, each has 27 rupa, not 28. Male has male has 27 and woman has 27, different by the power rupa.
Can you say it again, please?
Yes.
Just, sorry, we didn't get that. I was in the kitchen and
Okay, we're talking about rupa one by one.
talked about masculinity and
Yeah,
femininity.
it's rupa, a kind of rupa, which condition the appearance and the way of walking
Male
or
or
working
female.
or whatever to be known. Without it, no difference at all. But we can tell who's man and who's woman because of that rupa, which condition the appearance, the manners.
But you mentioned that there are 28 total rupas.
Altogether.
But
For
females,
one person, there must be only 27 male,
27 for male, 28 for female.
27
Oh,
for
27.
women. Different by
Different
the
combinations,
male,
but
by the male and the female rupa.
one of the 28 rupas
Yes,
is
for one person.
the decider,
Condition.
the condition that
the
decides male or
appearance.
female.
Yeah. Condition. Male and female cannot be seen, but it conditions the way the manners of male is or woman is. Yeah.
So, Achan, back to that male-female.
Yes.
When I was nursing, some children are born and they can't decide if it's boy or girl. And so but it still has that
Yeah. Yeah.
rupa. It doesn't have both of them.
Yeah, that's why no one can see the male faculty or the female faculty.
Okay.
But the appearance be conditioned by such rupa.
Right. So
Later.
when it's mixed, it's to do with Dhamma.
But there must be only one for one person.
That's interesting.
And for those we call กระเทยค่ะมีสองอย่างก็ได้บันดอกก็ได้อะไรก็ได้มีก็ได้ไม่มีก็ได้ It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Still has one
Just
or the
talk
other.
about the rupas. There are
Okay.
28 rupas.
Oh.
So animals have only 26 rupas?
Why?
No. We just heard that they don't have power root.
That
Does not have power root.
Do you know?
dog.
Doll.
Oh, we know. People confused. Mr. Suki, but Brahma
But we
cannot
can
does not
say,
have
we can
Brahma.
that this is male or female by dress, by what? Yeah. But not by power because rupa.
But doll don't have Jivitindriya Rupa also.
Power.
Doll doesn't have Jivitindriya Rupa.
Only eight rupas.
Only 8 rupas.
Only 8 rupas.
ก็ไม่มีอีกหลายอย่าง
How many rupas are there in a leaf? Yes,
How many rupas are there in a leaf? 27.
no.
Then it must be 8.
Yes, only 8.
Only 8. So the
Only
primary and the derived.
We don't include space.
Pardon?
Space we don't include.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to talk about the moment of arising and falling away and more than just 8. But when we talk about the primary,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So, Jack, now let's go to the sense organs. It is rupa, right? The eye or eye base is a rupa, right?
Yes.
It does not experience anything. That's why it's a rupa,
Right.
but it's real.
Yes.
So it has to have at least these 4 primary elements and the 4 derived elements, right? It must have at least these, like any other rupa. So anything else that distinguishes it?
No. More than 8.
Yes, at least. I said at least.
At least 8, but more.
So what distinguishes the eye from the table?
I think because the eye is connected to a living creature who has, well, at least in people, much more
So
rupas.
what we call eye is not for any reason. We don't call a dead man the eyeball's eye because that eye cannot function, cannot be a condition for seeing. We only call eye for living being because it can be a condition for seeing. Right? So there has to be something more than just 8 rupas. So what do you think that is? There has to be. No, I'm just trying to show him that there are rupas. We talked about the 8. We just talked about 8, and then there are more rupas. We mentioned 28, right? So there are more rupas. For example, the eye has one more rupa,
Yes.
which is not
Not
conditioned.
in the book.
Which
I
is
want
not.
to look at my primary 8, my primary 4, and my derived. The eye has something beyond that. Must have. Yes.
I mean, because it's not just any rupa. It is where there's seeing consciousness.
Mhm.
It is where visible object can contact, can impinge. So it
Mhm.
must be a special kind of rupa,
Yes.
different from that. So that special rupa is another rupa that arises with these 8.
Well, is it something to do with experience? Because
Yes,
these,
it has
this,
to do with
what they do.
experience, because that's what we distinguish the eye from the eye of someone who's living from the eye of some dead body.
Yes.
Because that dead body cannot see.
Yes.
So while living, this eye functions to support seeing, and that is a rupa. The eye is a rupa, is not seeing itself. It's a physical phenomena. So it's not those 4 plus 4. It's something else. There's something more. So what is that something? It's a rupa. So that rupa is different. A dead body cannot experience. And that rupa is eye. It's another rupa, eye sensitivity.
Oh.
That cannot be touched, that cannot be smelled, that cannot be seen, that cannot be tasted. Because it's another rupa. It's the ninth rupa, you could say.
Okay.
In the case of that particular, and that eye is conditioned not by heat, not by nutrition, but by karma. Karma, your karma. You know karma?
I think so.
No.
You mean this is a cause in the past?
Ajahn mentioned earlier about 4 different causes of rupa.
Yes.
But we don't say much about karma yet.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I'd continue with that.
You're putting me on the advanced course already. Thank you.
It's actually 10. Yeah. It's got Jivit Indriya also, which is a life. Only living, like you distinguish the Iola from a mannequin. You know that she's alive from just looking. That's because there's another kind of rupa that arises with what you take from her physical appearance. It's called Jivit Indriya, the life faculty.
So that's different than what you just explained
That's
to me
another
about the eye. Rupa,
the eye also must have Jivit Indriya. It has to arise with every rupa that arises with karma.
So then every sense organ has a rupa, a rupa attached to it. So the hearing one, the smelling, the smelling faculty, the sound faculty. Yeah. So then do we say that, again, just to keep bringing up the unfortunate person who was born without these faculties, they lack those rupas?
They lack those rupas. The karma is such that they don't condition those rupas. A blind person...
Oh, okay, so that's why you mentioned
that's why he's
karma, because it's related to that. I understand now, I think.
So a blind person, someone who's blind from birth, but we don't know who's blind from birth. Sometimes they get blind during pregnancy or later. Yes. But a person who's blind from birth, it's because of no karma that conditions eye.
So how many rupas you know now?
Do I actually know?
Yeah, you just talk about them. Already.
That's very difficult. Oh boy. Well, just...
Yes, how many?
From what I can remember.
Yeah, yes, please.
I have my primary 4, I have my derived 4, that's an 8. Then...
Indivisible, kalapa.
Yes. Then we go with faculties, with the visual faculty, hearing, smell, taste. That's another 4, that's 12 right there.
How many now?
I have 12 and I have 13 for the life. Can I get a 13? Yes, 13.
You have 8 plus the 5 sense.
5 senses, yes. Oh boy. So that's, yes.
18.
18.
And...
Wait, what?
Yeah, 8 plus 5, 13.
Yes, 13. And then 14 would be the life. The difference between Iola and a mannequin.
So 14.
14, yes.
And more.
Well, we have to get to 27, 28 eventually.
Not all, but more.
Oh, man and woman. So that's 15. Is that where we at now? Yeah. I think I'm at 15. I think I've got to 15. With everyone's help. Thank you very much. Don't ask.
And there's also when we talk about thinking when we talk about distinguishing thinking from seeing and hearing, we're talking about an activity that arises at the mind door. And that chitta must also have a physical base.
Is it the brain?
Yeah, no, not the brain. We call it the heart base.
The heart base.
The heart base.
Okay.
But the Buddha didn't say where it was.
Okay.
So that's also another rupa conditioned by karma.
So how many
But
now?
16 maybe? Is that, but is that thinking, is that the same as emotion as well?
No, thinking.
No,
Thinking is
No,
not seeing, right?
this strange. Okay.
Now we just
Feelings.
talk about rupa only, that we cannot experience. No matter we talk about the eye base, ear base, or the four primary rupas, and all realities which cannot experience. Now we just talk about that. Nothing to do with citta and cetasika. So
I forget the question.
the heart base, the heart base.
The heart base, yeah. The heart base. Yeah, and the heart base is also the birth of all those chittas that arise during deep sleep. Right? That
The ones
no
we
experience
don't
with the
know
senses.
about.
Yeah. So I forget the question.
And is there heart base now?
Is there heart based?
Is there heart base now?
No.
Is there heart base now? Well, I think I'm confused as to what exactly is the heart base.
If we
Rupa.
think that the citta, the experiencing, cannot arise outside the body, so there must be heart base for the arising of citta. The citta cannot arise without the base, which is the rupa at all. That's why even at the beginning of life, whenever there is citta and cetasika, there must be heart base which is not seen. No one can see all other rupa except just one, that which is seen now. No matter we talk about heart base or eye base or whatever, they cannot be seen. Only one rupa out of 28 can be seen.
Which rupa is that? There's only one rupa out of the 28 rupas
That can be seen.
that can be seen.
It's the visual object. Okay.
So do you see Kunsukin?
Yes.
No.
Seeing says something else, not sukhin. But there must be seeing and there must be something that's seen.
Without visible object, can you see Kunsukin?
That object there.
Yeah, but because of visible object, you take that one for Kunsukin, that shape and form,
No.
as Kunsukin.
No, I cannot.
Is that Kunsukin, which is seen?
Maybe the outside part, the shell of him, but not the real.
Like the shell. Is the table.
You have shell.
I mean, I don't know I can't see the real Sukhin, right? I think I just see
No.
Is that what you mean, or?
No real Sukin at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at
Because there isn't one. Right.
According to our understanding theory, one can't yet see the fact that it's
So actually, are you alone?
Wow. Yes.
You born alone, you see alone, you think alone, you like alone.
Yes.
But actually not you. Different realities arising from moment to moment. Is this true? Or you just believe?
Now you can appreciate the great magician, Chitta. It doesn't seem like we are alone, but the reality is that we are alone. It never seems like we are alone.
Yes. I think most people, if we talked about this idea, it makes me a little sad.
But that sadness is another
Right.
reality that has arisen and fallen away.
But I think at the same time, I guess the idea is to feel kind of at peace with that.
Understand. It's just understanding, performing the function of understanding and detaching, because the nature of reality is that just arisen to be experienced and fallen away already.
Yeah.
That's just the way things are. That's just the way things are.
Otherwise there will not be sadness. But clinging is there so much. When you lose the idea of self and understand that actually there's nothing, it depends on the degree of understanding, how much understanding is there. Better not to know the truth.
I mean, wisdom will never say no to the truth. Wisdom will rejoice in the truth. It's only attachment which, is not happy with the truth.
So better to know or better not to know?
That is a great question. I was actually thinking about that. I think most people would say better not
But
to know.
for you.
For me personally, I think it's better to know.
Right.
Yeah, I think in the I know everything's moment to moment, but in the long term of this conventional life or whatever this is that we're experiencing, or that I'm experiencing, it's better to know.
And you can begin to appreciate that it's because of not knowing that those problems we constantly run away from arise. It's because of not knowing.
Or you could ask, Jack, what is better, wisdom or ignorance?
What did you just say?
I asked, another way to put that question would be to what is better, wisdom or ignorance?
I think some people might say, it's a cliche, but some people in English we say, ignorance is bliss, absolute happiness, right? So that's why I think Ajahn's question about is it better to know or not to know? I think many people might actually prefer not to know.
But is it ever true? Ignorance is bliss.
See,
Unless you're born in the heaven realm and you're just getting the result of your good deeds, past good deeds.
Yeah.
And it does not matter. But given us that we are humans and we talk, is it possible to be happy? I mean, except for fleeting moments. Right?
Yeah.
I think even those ignorance would be true too.
Is happiness real?
Is happiness real? I think it's real.
So it's not you. There are conditions for its arising and falls away. Only that. Is it citta or cetasika? Sadness.
Is sadness citta?
Is it citta or cetasika? Sad.
It is cetasika.
Right. not you. See, when one understands what is what, there's no you, no I.
Hopefully there'll come a time when you begin to think that the only way out of all suffering is to just develop more understanding, that anything else is just more suffering. And you wouldn't trade Bill Gates' money times 10 than the knowledge of the truth.
And like, you used that phrase before about ignorance being bliss. It may seem like that, but ultimately that is so sad that people believe that, because it's like they're believing in a fantasy, and it's quite dangerous to have that belief, because ignorance conditions more and more sorrow, and it may not be seen immediately, but it will be experienced over time. So, because ultimately that's why you can say Buddhas appear to tell us what is true and what is not true. And we were talking last week about, the week before last, about what is truly a blessing, what is truly useful. And many people have got had all sorts of ideas in the Buddha's time about what is a blessing or what is useful, what's the best thing to do or best place to be. And the Buddha, his first was to stay away from people who are not helpful, and second one was to associate with people who are helpful. So that is, that's what I'm thinking what blessings are. Coming back to your statement, well, that's commonly held, and there are many kind of cliches like that. Ignorance is bliss, but anybody can say anything, and some things you hear out there, politically, socially, you work in the humanities, and you would know some things are just perhaps cliches, but they're not true.
I think if people do feel any bliss from that so-called ignorance, that there's a time limit on things like that. They don't, as we're saying, everything, it's just moment to moment, and the happiness won't last forever, but in the same idea, sadness won't as well. But I think most conventional thinking shies away from this type of thinking, because in a way it's easier to deal with, although long term it might not be the smartest plan, because you deal with a lot of suffering with the ignorance, and you accumulate.
And actually, that people who don't like to listen to the truth is just that they don't have the accumulations, and they don't understand. Whatever they say is just from ignorance and attachment. So someone who says ignorance is bliss, or they turn to another religion, is just they just do it with attachment and ignorance. The fact is that the person who's not turned to religion and is attached to sensuous pleasures, he is actually involved a whole day in trying to change objects of attachment, right? From this to that to this, and that's really suffering. The person who follows some kind of some religion, believes in God or something, is doing the same. He's just turning to another object of attachment. So the only way is to understand that that's how life is. It's unsatisfactory, and only a Buddha can point that
out. Today we hear the word that like Chitta, Cetasika, Rupas, yes, many of roof, and then you say that it's better to know. Why better to know? You said, can you tell me more why it's better to know?
For me personally, I think it's better to know, because when I feel even this basic knowledge that you've shared with me today, it's something that I can actually apply to my daily life, in conventional life.
You don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to live your life any other way. Just gradually develop more understanding and live your life as it is. I mean, it's not expected. The Dhamma does not, it's not supposed to make you change your way of life. It's just to make you understand. And gradually, even doing good as against doing bad, it's not supposed to make you start doing good with the idea of self, and which actually leads to other problems. It's just it expects you to develop the understanding gradually. So if there comes a time when you are kind, it's just by conditions, or you help people, you do good, it's just by conditions. And if it doesn't happen, it's also by conditions. So the point is just understand, and it's the best thing. I mean, you could be anyone. You're a teacher, you could be an engineer, a doctor, or a construction worker, anything. It's just, you just live your life as it is and understand.
And because when we know, it can reduce the suffering that we think that I, you, myself, something like that. Because life is just have two kinds of reality, like the Dhamma Dhammas and Rupa Dhamma. If we say about Dhamma Dhamma, it have mental phenomena and physical phenomena. Citta and Cetasika. Yes, and Rupa Dhamma, it does have Rupa Dhamma, it's one. But Nama Dhamma, we have two kinds, right? Yes. Because when we study that, we know that life is like that. It's just the Rupa, it's just the Cetasika, it's just Citta, and now just seeing, hearing. It is relative, it is non-self. It is no Mr. Jack, no Mr. Reed, nothing. To beings, to humans at all. It's the way to know the truth. What is life? Like that. It's very the best thing to know the truth in the life. Because we born and then we go to university, we study about the business administration, but we don't know what is life mean. So it's the best way to know. If we can know the way to reduce the suffering, it's really important to know the truth. Yes, it's just how the one way to know that. If the wisdom appear and then we use attachment, ignorance, aversion. Yes, and important, the best thing to understand that life is just realities arise and then appears away. It's no beings, no humans. It's like that. Yes. The way to reduce attachments, so the way to reduce suffering.
Again, what is there now? What is there now?
What is there now?
Mm-hmm. Very boring question.
No, I'm wondering what is the answer to that?
Yeah, what is there?
Right now, visual objects?
Okay. Can you make it arise?
No.
It's conditioned.
It's the conditions that
so
make them arise.
just understand that.
Yes.
You cannot make anything up at all. Whatever you think is there already by conditions. No matter pleasant feeling, it's there already. just to know that it's a reality. It's different from sadness or anger. That's all. Just begin to understand the reality as it is, as it is a reality. No one can do anything. No one can stop its arising because it's there already. Just understand. So life is as normal, but having more understanding rather than not knowing what is there. But many people go wrong because they try to catch it, to know it, to experience it. They don't really understand that all are conditioned realities, just arise and falls away in split seconds, and only the highly developed panya can experience that. But in the beginning, there must be right understanding of whatever is there, little by little.
So, the reason why some people probably don't want to hear and lean towards the idea of ignorance is bliss is that when they hear and don't understand, they think the Dhamma is, you're supposed to do certain things, you're supposed to let go and live a life a certain way, and but that's not what Dhamma is supposed to do. The point is to understand who you are, because what you are, who you are, is by conditions, and nobody can control it. So at any point, it's like that. Wherever you are, it's by conditions, and the goal is to understand, to have understanding, to understand this now. That's why it's, the Buddhist teaching is called the middle way, in the sense that you don't try to torture yourself or indulge yourself. You just live yourself as it is, and just understand.
If someone would say, do this so that you can understand better, is that right?
No.
Good. Because no one can do anything at all. So anyone who tells someone to do something in order to understand, that is wrong. Because they really don't understand what reality is. And what is Dhamma? I'm sure you have heard this word many, many times. What is it? Dhamma.
I just translated it as wisdom in English, but I'm not really sure.
See, we have to start from understanding each word clearly as it is. Because Dhamma is not Thai word, it's not English, but it's Pali, the Makati language, means whatever is real is Dhamma. Hardness is Dhamma. Seeing is Dhamma. Whatever is real is Dhamma, which means it does not belong to anyone. No one can make it arise, no one can stop its arising and falling away at all. So we understand all are Dhamma, whatever is real, in the absolute sense. Seeing is real. Hearing is another Dhamma. So there are Rupa Dhamma, the Dhamma, the reality which cannot experience, and the Nama, that which a Nam experience, an object. No one there. Is Nibbana Dhamma? You have heard the word Nibbana?
Yes, I've heard
Is it Dhamma?
No.
So you forget. Whatever is real is Dhamma.
But can I say no because I've not experienced
No matter
Nirvana?
what, no matter
Not real
what,
to me?
no matter what, is it real? Is the Nibbana or no Nibbana at all? Or it's just the word? Or it's a reality?
The Four Noble Truths, what do you think that means? And one of those truths is Nibbana.
Yes. So it's the path out of suffering, basically, yeah.
Now, the path is another truth. It's the truth known by the Aryans, the way out of suffering.
Way out of suffering.
And the end of suffering is another truth. That's Nibbana.
That's Nirvana. Okay. There is an end to it.
And it's not just. It doesn't just mean not this, the ending of this. It also means that there is a reality that can be known.
How can we know that that is reality if
Because
we
the
have
Buddha
not
said it. Sorry, I mean, at some point we have to say that because not everything can be
experienced firsthand.
Right.
Well,
Sure.
I would say begin to what Ajahn was saying, because it's real and it can be understood. The Buddha always encouraged people to question and not to believe necessarily just because somebody else says so.
Sure.
Even if they're a monk or a bhikkhu, it should not ever be. Everything should be considered because it's your welfare and well-being that's at stake, and we should never believe, no matter anybody, what they say. I think one of the very first questions I asked Ajahn was, "So who shall I believe?" And she said, "Anybody can say anything," and they can, and they do. It's up for us, or to judge, and to consider carefully. To scrutinize, really. The Buddha used that word to really, because if we don't scrutinize carefully what we hear, there will be problems. And we go down wrong paths and believe unwise or foolish people who tell us to do things like Ajahn was saying before, because there's not Ajahn just said then, I thought it was I really liked the way she said it. You can't do anything because that's impossible. No one's ever done that before. You can't do that because it can't be done. You can't do that. It's never been done before. Because there's no person to do it. There is wisdom to understand it, but not to do it as a person. And this is why people, I believe, go so wrong. They believe. And every time that is done, it's reinforcing this wrong view of ditthi, that there is a person who can do something. And we are often so sucked in by that belief, and so many people go away into a quiet place or whatever. But that is not what the Buddha was saying. The important thing is to be with wise people, and to scrutinize and consider carefully and ideally follow what they have to say. And I would like to add that, I'm really, if you've never heard Dhamma before in this life, I think I'm really, really impressed. You've got and I hope that, as I said, I think earlier on today, I don't want to sound patronizing, but, the way you have heard and considered and answered questions today, I'm really very, very impressed, and I think that I would really encourage, and I think Kunsukin alluded to that a moment ago, to keep on listening, and it will be of great benefit, in the short term and, of course, in the long term. Because Dhamma, there's a question people sometimes ask, what's the point of life? And ultimate reality, there's really no point to life. But the point is, if there's any point, to understand it. That is the way out of the difficulty or the mess that's been created. We don't know when it started, and that's sometimes not a helpful question to consider when did it all start. That's just more thinking, but it has started, and there is, it is, and there needs to be the understanding of it, and that is a great blessing, to be around people who enable that. If that's not appreciated, then that's unfortunate. But however, that does happen, and there are all sorts of teachers out there who potentially can mislead if we're not careful. And that's always been the case, at conventional level and whatever level. There's always been kind of false gurus. in the Buddha, and there were in the Buddha's time, and there was a very famous sutta called the Samanyapala Sutta, and Ajatasattu was asking the sixth grade the teachers of the time, the Buddha, of course, was one of them, and he went one by one to all these teachers of the time, and then eventually he got to the Buddha, and then he said at the end, when he listened to the Buddha, he said, it's as if I asked them to describe to me what a mango is, and they told me all about a breadfruit, but when I came to you, you described to me what a mango was. But anyway.
And you see, we've accumulated a lot of ignorance, attachment, and wrong understanding. Wrong understanding is that which mistakes what is wrong for right, right for wrong, what is good for bad, bad for good, and what is not for what it is, for what is not real for what's real, and what's real for not for unreal, and this one state being one thing and another state being another. So if we are not careful, if we don't allow ourselves to hear the Dhamma often, which is actually the condition, the important condition that the Buddha said to the attainment of enlightenment, means association with the wise, hearing the Dhamma, right consideration, then we very easily go wrong. Very easily go wrong means it becomes even more harder to go on the right path. Because if you mistake the wrong path for the right path, then you're going to mistake it for being right. And who's going to tell you that it's wrong? So it's important to keep this. And I'm not saying that I'm not trying to encourage you to do it with the idea of self, that I shall do. Iola is here, and I'm sure she will help. But that's it. You appreciate the importance, so you'll automatically be inclined towards it.
So each word should be clearly and firmly understood. Not just remember the word or the name, but the reality itself, like Rupa now. Rupa cannot never understand or experience anything at all. And what Rupa can be seen? There are 28 Rupas. What Rupa can be seen?
The visual object.
Visual object. What Rupa can be heard?
Hearing.
No. Which Rupa can be heard?
Can be heard. Sound.
Sound. Which Rupa can be smelt?
Scent or smell. Odors.
Yeah. And which Rupa can be tasted?
The flavor, yes, that's it. Flavor, of course. Flavor.
Yeah, the taste of flavor.
Taste of flavor.
And what Rupa can be touched?
What Rupa can be touched? Hardness and the heat.
Can the moon be touched?
Can the moon be touched? Well, it's possible, yes. No? If we travel, it is. If we travel to the moon, yes. But normally, no.
It's one of Ajah's very clever questions. She wants to help you to see that it's just not repeating what you've heard, but have you understood?
Actually understanding.
Yeah. So the moon cannot be touched. We can think about they can be thinking about the moon, that's real, but it can't be touched.
But it can be a question of whether, as there was thinking that what we take for moon, if we go there, there will be rupas that can be touched. So it depends on what Ajahn is trying to point out.
How many rupas are the moon?
Eight.
Right. A book. A book.
The book also has eight.
Yeah. A chair. A chair.
A chair, eight.
Yes. Okay. Finger.
Finger. Finger has 9. Huh?
Okay, what is there? What are there? If you say 9, what are there?
I would say the 4 primary rupas, then the 4 derived rupas. The 9th one, I believe, is the senses or nerves, the sensory of touch. Where the touch, we have an eye base for the being able to see, so there must be some touch base, some sort of sensation base or feeling. It may not originate in the finger. The whole body can feel it.
The body base.
Body base. There we go. Thank you.
Inside and outside, there is this sense base called the body base. Except not, it doesn't rise and know all the time. Except for the nails and the hair, does not have that sense, right? So, but I wasn't sure that was the question. Was that the question, Ajahn?
I just want him to
more. Yeah. What else could it be? Because I was thinking personally when Ajahn asked you in the finger, I was thinking about Jivit Indriya, because that must also be there, which is life faculty. Life faculty.
Life faculty.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I was focused on
Yeah, so the skin, what we take for human skin, a person alive, there has to be life faculty.
Hey.
Not all.
If it is a finger of a dead person, there's still
A finger of the dead person, there's no.
thing is cut out.
There
There is no.
There is not. Yes. Okay.
That's what
Oh boy.
Except if your fingers on the finger.
Yes.
So,
Ajahn, it would be incorrect to say in a finger, because surely it's either a man's finger or a woman's finger, but we cannot say just from looking at the finger that it's male or female, right?
so we can talk more about rupas, the difference, little by little. So what is light? Light.
Visual object to us.
A rupa, a reality,
A rupa,
and
reality.
visual object.
Visual object.
And what is dark or darkness?
I would say it's the same.
Right, right. Because it can be seen.
Yes.
So the eye base is light or dark?
Both. No.
It's white for dark.
Or dark. The eye base.
The eye itself.
The eye itself. Oh, is it? Are you asking me? Is it light or dark? The eye itself. Well, that's an interesting question.
Can it be seen?
No. Well, in a mirror?
No.
No? Okay.
We're talking about
I'm
another
reaching.
kind of, because what's seen is just visible object.
Yes.
And we're saying that the eye is another kind of materiality,
Okay.
which is conditioned by karma. So we're not talking about visible object.
You're talking about the eye base,
Eye base.
not the eye itself.
No,
the
not this physical eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
The eye base. But is it light or dark?
Hmm. How many of the 28 rupas, how many can be seen? That's been asked a couple of times already.
Visual object, just one.
Right.
Only one.
Just
Only one.
So
But
you leave out all the rest.
right.
So it cannot be light.
Oh, okay, so what do you mean by light or dark? Can it be seen or not seen? I understand now. Okay. So yes, it is dark
Darker than dark.
because we cannot see the eye base.
But it's not even dark.
The eye base is the quality of rupa which can be conditioned for the seeing to arise.
It is the
It's
condition.
not the light or color, but it has to be. There must be color with it. Wherever there are 8 rupas, one of the 8 is light or color, visible object.
But it's visible object, not
Not
eye.
an eye.
So Ajahn, the answer is it's neither dark or light because it cannot be seen as dark or light.
It's not color.
It's not
that which
experienced
can
at
be
all
seen.
by the eye.
Yeah. Otherwise, the same, but actually they are not the same.
So the answer is it's neither.
It's neither.
I see.
It's not something that you can see and judge as being light or dark because
Right.
it's never seen.
Right, okay. Makes sense.
Is it you? Is the eye yours? Is it your eyes?
Are you asking me, are these eyes my eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yes.
Never. It's gone, arising and falling away. So how can anyone will be yours? Nothing belong, because actually there's no one.
But Ajahn, from another perspective, when we talk about result of karma, we make the distinction between one chitta and another, and that the karma is accumulated and tendencies are accumulated, and results of karma can arise by conditions. So when we say the I is yours, in a way it's
Concept.
conditioned by the karma of that person in the past. Although there is no person, it's just chitta
It does-
cetasika.
Yeah, just concept. I or you are all
But
concepts.
just concepts.
How long will it take for the experiencing of realities as they are, not self? Directly.
How long does it take to experience reality directly?
How long will it take?
How long does it take?
How long does it take? I think it's so to... Hold on. Let me think about this. I think we experience reality in very quick, short moments. No?
I think the question is how long it takes for the understanding to be developed such that it experiences the reality as it is.
Oh. I think that depends on the person, and I think it will take a long, long time.
Long time.
Yeah, because...
Long time.
Yeah, we can think about it and maybe try to understand it on some sort of intellectual level, but to actually really understand it and then actually really experience it, I don't know. I think that's almost... Is it impossible?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it is. I think it's impossible.
Right. It is possible.
But we should strive for the impossible.
When
we should
there's
try.
less and less attachment to self.
It's attachment to self.
When there's less and less and less
When
attachment to self.
Yes.
I mean, if it was not possible, and if you doubt that this is not possible, that it is possible, then why are we here listening? What's the value of listening? It's because it's possible. And it's actually leading to that.
And I thought what you said before was really an excellent answer when you said it depends on the person. Some people in the Buddha's time understood very quickly. So it's going to depend on many different conditions. And for us, though, I believe, generally speaking, it's going to take a long time, but it's going to depend on the person. And sometimes, it's described in the text, there are at least 4 different types. And the first type is the one who understand very quickly, because they have followed the path before in other past lives. So there are conditions in this life for them, or the life that they were in, to understand very quickly. But there are always support conditions to enable them to get to that point. They just didn't do it in one lifetime. It takes millions of lifetimes.
And what experiences that? What reality can experience that? The truth of reality right now, arising and falling away. What reality can experience that? Not you, so what reality?
What reality can experience the truth? What reality can experience the truth? Seeing things, you know?
In a way, you're right that all realities are real and seeing experiences a reality. But the question is, what comes to know that this is the case, this is actually true? What kind of reality is that?
Which knows that?
That this is how it is. At that level of knowing it directly, as against right now we are just thinking about it and agreeing it. Seeing just sees, right? It cannot know the nature of the object. It cannot know the nature of visible object, right? It just experiences it. Same with hearing. Just hears sound. It cannot know the nature of sound. So which reality knows the nature of these realities?
Well, it's not thinking. That's not going to get you anywhere. Understanding, is that a reality? So I would say understanding, but
And also understanding cannot arise alone.
No.
It needs the support of other, like any experience.
Right.
So that's why the Eightfold Path is the Fourth Noble Truth. It's that special set of realities that experiences Nibbana and enlightened. So even when mundane understanding, a moment of direct experience, at least 5 or 6 of those realities must arise together. Mindfulness, right concentration, right vitaka, what's it? Sankapa. What is it? What's the English? Yeah, what's the English word? What we say? They say right thinking, some say right thinking, but consideration. Okay, right consideration, just for now. So then there has to be also right effort. It's the right kind of effort. But the leader is wisdom. So wisdom, Ajah's point is that wisdom is the leader all the way. The study of Dhamma is all the way dependent on wisdom, the development of wisdom. The others just follow.
Is there effort now?
There's effort, but I'm not sure if it's the right effort.
Yeah.
But there's effort.
It's necessary to hear more and more to understand more of these realities, like effort, whether there is effort right now or not.
May the Kusala deeds I have done today be known to my parents.